Good morning and welcome back to day one of the Australian Youth Ultimate Championships live from Adelaide, South Australia. I'm Max Stenstrom. I'm joined by Jonathan Warren-White in the booth. Hi Jonathan, how's it going?
Yeah, pretty good. Rough morning with some weather, but sun's come out now.
In this first women's matchup of the day, we've got New South Wales and ACT battling it out. Any predictions on what we're likely to see?
Watching the boys this morning, we saw a lot of big throws, particularly with the teams going downwind. We might see a couple of the same sort of tactics in this. A lot of zone as well played.
Yeah, unlucky.
We did even have a few moments of rain, but they've looked like they've cleared up for now, so hopefully the sun stays out and the rain stays away.
Just in front of the plate.
We've, as you say, had all sorts of conditions this morning, so fingers crossed for a nice one ahead of us. I know that the ACT team will be coming out on offense to commence this match. New South Wales will be playing defense. This ACT women's team has got a number of returning players who have played both youth champs and even under 22s in the past, so they'll be bringing that experience alongside some of their more youthful, fresher faces. And we'll see whether that combination proves effective against the reigning defending champions in New South Wales. This New South Wales women's outfit looking to do the three-peat. They're defending champions coming back for more.
Be interesting to see. The wind's just picked up just as the game's about to start. See if we see a zone look first up or if they'll just go with a hard match defense.
It feels like the wind's going right to left on your screens, so it'll be upwind offense. And as you say, Jonathan, very likely that they might dig into their bag of tricks, but we shall see. They are led by very experienced coaches in Sarah Perkins and Maddie O'Connor, who no doubt will have some plans in store.
Preview on your screen? Yeah? That way you
The
know
team
you
signal
can
their
record.
readiness,
Okay. I'll still talk to
and
you.
games will commence
I'll still
shortly
talk to you, but
as the first pool will go up from New South Wales.
here we go, Cam 1.
Oh, and immediately that one's going to reach half field and it'll be picked up by Rachel Joyce, who'll find Thea Osmond in plenty of space. There's been a miscommunication about who's matching up on who. Osmond was wide open, but New South Wales react well. Go break side, but too far out in front. And so far, Johnny, just match, as you thought might have been the possibility.
Yeah, both teams look like they're just going with a match, trying to push a flick force both teams.
Tegan Collis getting underneath that one, pulling down the high floaty disc. Expect to see her do plenty of duties underneath the jump ball in this game, as she comes back underneath now to provide an outlet for her captain. And that one too far out in front. ACT will get another opportunity now. Joyce surveys the field. Discipline cutting out of the vertical stack, clearly a well-drilled team. But having said that, not able to find connections between the handlers and the cutters so far, as Osmond and Joyce pass it backwards and forth. Maintaining possession, but struggling to gain ground. And a nice D by Clifford. Gets in front of that one. New South Wales on the doorstep. Float one out the back corner, looking for Toyo. Apologies, that was Clifford who was looking to receive that one in the back corner. Both teams struggling to adjust to the windy conditions early on, Jonathan. Any thoughts on how they can adjust their game or how these conditions require you to adjust your game?
So ACT look very disciplined with their cutting. They're going one at a time, looking to hit someone on that open side. Where's the call's been made? But Like most Canberra teams, they also look like they have some good dump sets, so might be able to handle the wind a little bit better as they get used to it.
Yeah, the trademark of ACT Ultimate, very disciplined and drilled in the recycling of the frisbee. Good hands, keep that disc alive for ACT, but they'll struggle to continue as they look for Osmond but can't complete the pass from Morgan. Toyo picks up, looks to move it quickly, immediately goes up line. Through the hands, unfortunately can't be held onto. Critchley seemed to be there, but the wind causing it to bobble perhaps. Osmond and Joyce, the two handlers steering this ACT offense, both pulling on the green and gold in just a few weeks' time over in Canada as part of the Australian under 20s women's team. Joyce having also competed 2 years ago in Poland for that team as well. Brings a wealth of experience as the wind really picks up now. We'll see whether that experience comes into play. Nice movement to get it into the hands of Osmond. But you can see how the winds are really affecting every throw. Hammer, aggressive option. Nodding your approval. Thoughts on a hammer in this kind of conditions? Ambitious.
Always worth it. Downwind hammer though, so nice way to get over the defence. New South Wales are looking a little bit less disciplined than ACT in their stack. They're kind of running all over the place at the moment. I think they need to clean that up a little bit.
We'd spoken about how well drilled the ACT dump set was, but commentator's curse caused a cheap turnover, but they get it back. The one risk of playing that conservative offense in conditions like this is that you do give up a short field turn. Oh. And a throw literally straight into the stack, bounce off 2 or 3 players, and Joyce will get it back midfield. And ACT look to keep it moving, not allowing the defense to clamp down, but can't get it back into those safe hands. As a Toyo to Critchley gets it straight back. Toyo also a member of the Australian under-20 team. Osmond pivots, takes some contact but plays on. And that one bobbles off the chest. Osmond's parents also both pulling on green and gold at various points in their playing careers. And New South Wales look for the long ball. Thinking these kind of conditions, that may be a tactic of choice.
ACT have tried that a number of times upwind as well. We had a couple of turnovers ago, we had the big huck that bounced off a couple of people. You just need to get lucky once or twice and you can advance a disc and win like this.
Yeah, no one would say it's pretty ultimate, but sometimes it's about what's effective, not what looks good. Is that one too low for Bauer to reel in? Toyo breaks the mark with a nice backhand. Again going break side, but Rachel Joyce too strong. Puts it out in front of Osmond, who can't hold on. That may have been a big opportunity for them, having one of their experienced handlers in a position to receive it downfield. Critchley goes backwards. Disc in midfield now. This is an opportunity for the ACT. We'll see whether they can capitalise. Still sticking with vertical stack. Has Joyce upfield, but Osmond eventually goes with the Hail Mary to Joyce. She's about 10 metres out, puts it out in front. Too far for Morgan despite her best efforts. Just out of reach. It's the most threatening opportunity they've had so far.
First time we've seen New South Wales have to work the disc full field. We'll see how they handle this and see what they throw.
Both teams opting for vertical in this wind, even going downwind. And in that case, just straight out of the hands of Tegan Collis. And Osmond now. 9 metres out, disc in hand, has Morgan coming open side. Launches one, but the wind gets underneath it. Well out of reach. Toyo. She's really quarterbacking this offense for New South Wales. Clearly brings a lot of throwing experience as they go long. Have players underneath it. Collis again, the intended target for New South Wales. She's clearly one of their main receivers doing a lot of work downfield. And the disc goes back into the stack. It's retrieved by Nethery. Struggling to get a dump off. Finds Osmond. Working hard to get open. Moves it far side. Forced to come forehand. Back near side. And to turf. New South Wales doing a good job of holding their force. Forcing ACT to throw that tricky forehand into the wind. The structure starting to look a little ragged for New South Wales on offense. As that one too far out in front. Osmond sees Joyce in space, puts it in front, and Ariana Morgan will secure the first upwind goal of the game. Apologies, that's Annalise Prattley who collects the goal. Wasn't pretty, it was scrappy, but they didn't give up and they kept working, and in the end they are rewarded. May well be a taste of what is yet to come in terms of the kind of play we're expecting to see for the rest of this one. Tactically, do you think there's anything else you'd like to see?
I think both teams, when they get the disc just in front of their own end zone, they tend to have lots of people all wanting to get the goal at one point. I'd really like to see them just isolate one player, particularly ACT with a strong thrower like Osmond, or New South Wales with ETO with her breaks that she's shown being able to throw. Isolate one player out the front, get everyone else out of the way, and it should be a nice, easy score.
Let them go to work. This is an opportunity now for ACT to play some downwind defence. We'll see whether that zone comes out of their bag of tricks. Miriam Downey, their coach, also an Australian under-20s player, not once but twice. Brings plenty of experience and knowledge to the cause of their team.
Go. It looks like Annalise Prattley's going to pull the disc for ACT.
Hey, Jack.
Downwind pull, we might see it roll a little bit if she can get the right sort of angle on the disc. Gain some ground that way.
Feels like territory is even more important than it usually is in a game like this. So a good pull can be crucial.
And that looks like a good pull. Oh, it slid out at the very end. And Itio calls a brick.
It does look like ACT have opted for this
Sorry,
zone.
I think that's Nguyen. Nguyen now stuck on the sideline. There's a breakout and a lovely D by Monique Eaton. Catherine French with the throw into the end zone, but unfortunately dropped. And another quick turn. Annalise Prattley walks to the disc. Looks like they've... And lovely open side cut. Goal by Alicia Gregory.
Clinical play by the ACT in the end. They got the disc in a short field position. Got an easy open side undercut that got open and hit them.
Actually did look like they set up an ISO at the beginning there for Prattley. Cutter went break side and left some space on the open side. Filled by one of their cutters. Easy goal.
Yeah, very nicely done. ACT women having been in the 3-4 playoff the last couple of years at this tournament, ready to make a push perhaps for the pointy end of the tournament. Get some real silverware to take home, possibly even some goldware. And so far getting the better of a team that coming in people may have said would have been favourites on paper. New South Wales, well storied state with a strong ultimate community.
So what do you think the New South Wales coaches are saying to their girls here? They're in a bit of a rut, two points down. What do they need to do to fix themselves?
I think there's a couple of things. I mean, firstly on defence, you've just got to work really hard. You know that turns will come in these kind of conditions, and anything you can do to force those turns to be shorter field and not be territory gaining will be pay off in dividends later on. But once you've got the disc, especially in this downwind point, I'd be looking to be aggressive early on. Remove any chance of a short field turn. Some may call it cynical, but I think in these kind of conditions where it's so difficult to string together passes and recycle it through dumps, the long shot is often the best reset option.
I did see Eva Strachan mention or motion a number of times in that last point to go long for her cutters. So she obviously does want her cutters to do that for her.
It may be a question of personnel as well. We saw Toyo do a lot of work with the disc in hand last point, and clearly a very strong technical thrower, breaking the mark, but maybe not a hugely powerful thrower with the long distance. And we'll see whether different personnel on the line this time will open up those different options. But ACT, stifling defence, not a lot of options for New South Wales early on. Stall count rising for sure, but in the end, sneak one down the line to Erin Crawford. Single pass offense. Felt like that disc was held for a long time, but
yeah, very long stall count there. Maybe
possibly a contact call.
We're also at a juniors tournament. A lot of first-year players. We were talking to a few players before the game. A lot of first-year players, maybe just a little bit nervous or not sure when to call or how to call things.
And that's, I think, one of the great things about this tournament. There's opportunities for people that have been playing for just a few months. I know a lot of players here are that level of fresh to the sport, and they get to come represent their state, play against really quality opposition, get really quality coaching, and improve because of it, and then take it back and share Frisbee with their schoolmates, their friends, and their local communities back home. It's a great opportunity. I've heard of a number of situations where numerous players from the same school are here competing for their state. An example of what happens where one or two players get involved and then spread the word. The gospel of Frisbee.
Eva Strawn with the pull. You get to see ACT have their first offensive point downwind.
Challenge of that wind being seen in the relatively short pull on the sideline. Still not an ideal situation for the ACT to be in with a cup as the New South Wales play a pummy defence, a zone defence, as they call it, not playing one-on-one single coverage, instead marking a space. This particular zone very aggressive, putting a lot of pressure on the individual with the disc. But Thea Osmond up to that challenge. Launches one long, looking for Alyssa Gregory, who's already on the stat sheet once. New South Wales, they've left the handler unmarked, ACT. Strawn starts moving it down the near side of the field. Toyo. Nicely picked up by Strawn. And you can see the wind as that disc goes to turf and immediately turns around and starts rolling back the other way. And they'll hustle to stop that. Osmond picks up. That cup forms around her. And unfortunately, the backwards pass goes to turf. New South Wales now with this short field opportunity. Defensive adjustment of the zone proving effective already. Working it up, now about 8 metres out in the hands of Chan. She fires a forehand across the field, but Osmond knocks it out of the sky. Surveys her options downfield. Moves to that far sideline on the open side. The challenge, of course, being once the disc is there, the cup is even more effective. But now they get the nice swing and plenty of contact as Mackenzie Smeaton cleans up Catherine Neve.
Looks like confusion on the call. No one actually knows what's going on. Toyo calmly walks to it, picks it up.
Throws the goal. Perhaps ACT caught napping a little bit there.
Kayla Chan with the goal. New South Wales back in the game.
Suddenly get a couple of quick ones and it's 2-2 again.
I think ACT kind of fell into the trap of wanting to move their way around that zone, that point. With the wind, strong wind behind them, I think they had the chance to maybe just have Osmond launch one down the field and see if they can gain some ground that way. Saw how deadly it can be if you go to dump backwards and miss throw, give the other team some distance and a turnover.
They gave them the disc in prime position, as you say, pretty much on the brick mark, which is really not where you want to give them the frisbee. And then maybe some slight confusion, miscommunication on the defense, let out an easy open side pass for the goal. So already we're seeing a game of momentum shifts. ACT jumping out to 2-0 and then New South Wales responding with a defensive adjustment, bringing out their zone, immediately getting some results. But both teams have demonstrated an ability to score upwind, which is crucial. In these upwind downwind games, where we talk about them being decided on the flip, it's because It can be just so difficult to score against the breeze. But both teams showing their class.
Eva Strawn with the pull. Lands about halfway down the field. Osmond picks it up. Back to Osmond. Osmond and Joyce controlling this ACT offense at the moment. Swing to the fat side. Unfortunately, an overthrow. Strawn puts it into the end zone. D by Joyce.
I like that as an option, that deep shot from Strawn. Despite it not connecting, that's a good look.
Osmond swings. Ooh, unfortunately, Grace Downey just had a slip just before she going for that catch. Nguyen picks up the disc. Comes across to Tegan Collis. Quick turn. Nguyen punishes it. Flick side open goal.
We saw Eva Strawn take a couple of pretty similar looking shots, that forehand downwind onto the fat side. And despite it not succeeding, she stuck to her guns and in the end was rewarded with a short field opportunity that they were lethal with, as Rachel Joyce just caught out a little bit out of position on defence.
Kayla Wilson with a nice catch for the goal as well in windy and blustery conditions.
People often talk about the difficulty of throwing in the wind, and it's absolutely true, it's really hard. But I think an under-mentioned aspect is the difficulty of catching a disc as it bobbles and can be so unpredictable in its flight in the wind as well. So, good work watching it all the way in. So that's 3 on the trot for New South Wales. ACT need to steady the ship and get back on the scoreboard. We saw Grace Downey that last point, unable to hold on to one, and with an errant pass as well. She's the younger sister of the coach, Miriam Downey. So there's Frisbee in the blood. We'll see whether she can redeem herself in points to come. New South Wales going on this 3-point run. What do you think's caused it? Anything particular?
Well, they've shifted to that zone, and the zone's really frustrated and flustered ACT. We saw ACT come out against their match defence, and their cutting was very disciplined, very drilled, and New South Wales are finding it hard to stop that. So now that they have to find space, I think ACT are struggling with that more free-flowing, initiative-based offence that zone becomes.
And perhaps a slightly different zone look from New South Wales, or a very spaced out cup compared to previously, and immediately generates them a short field opportunity again with the disc. ACT playing single coverage as that disc goes up. Plenty of bodies underneath it, and it's battered away by Rebecca Hazeman, who'll pick it up and survey her options, which are not a lot. New South Wales playing stifling defence. And Atoyo, too good, gets a hand on it and immediately shoots to the end zone. Backhand, upwind, it'll float. There's a pack forming underneath it, and they rise. And it's plucked over the back by Nguyen. Read very well, so that's Christy Vu with the goal. Read like a book, everyone else had no idea where it was going.
As so often happens, the one person who didn't jump into the pack ends up catching the goal at the end.
And that's another upwind goal for New South Wales. We said they were valuable. That's big pack, plenty of bodies, 3 or 4 from both teams. But Vu shows her class, sits out the back and collects the crumbs. And we've had a timeout call. And at 4-2 up, New South Wales now in a commanding position, having scored 4 in a row. ACT take an opportunity to reset, refocus, reconsider their options. What kind of messages do you think they're receiving in the circle right now?
To trust their systems. I think they've been trapped on that far sideline from us a number of times against this zone. They've been given easy passes to that sideline. I think that's a tactic of New South Wales to get them trapped on that line. So if I was coaching them, I'd be telling them we've got to keep the disc on this side of the sideline, closer to the camera side. It seems like it's much easier to throw from this side than the other side. So I'd just be talking about that tactically. That's what. Just keeping their heads up. They know that they can score. They've shown it with the first 2 points. They know that they can move the disc. It's just about trusting each other now and making sure you follow through with your skills and your training.
And as we see here, Miriam Downey and Leon Smith, the manager, who's also an ex-Dingo himself, so not short on Frisbee knowledge, giving them a few words. In teams as young as these, we know they can often be inconsistent. And in those cases, how important is leadership from veterans like coaches and managers to a team, providing that consistency?
Oh, it's super important. Really important that what I've noticed from both teams is both coaches are definitely doing a ton of work up and down the sidelines. They're staying where the disc is so that they're always in the ear of their players, so that their players know exactly what to do, where they should be moving. And just having someone that has been there, as you said, Leon's played at the highest level in the world, so having someone there to tell you about what to do, how to dig yourself out of these sorts of holes is really important.
Well, hopefully they can take that belief and that experience and put it to good use. New South Wales just want to stay on this momentum roll. As we said, 4 points straight. Put them in a commanding position. And we're already 35 minutes into the match, so they are 80-minute games. So it seems very likely we'll be playing a time cap rather than score cap in this one. It is a game to 15 though, if we do get there. First team to 15 will win. And half will be taken when one team reaches 8. For those of us joining on the stream who are new to the sport, it's a bit of an unusual feature of Ultimate that half-time can occur anywhere from moments before the end of the match to very shortly after it begins.
Do you think that New South Wales will continue with this zone look?
I think so. I think for New South Wales at this point, it's a case of if it ain't broke, don't fix it. As soon as they switch to their zone, success has followed. So I can't imagine they'll change much up, though we've seen a couple of different zone looks from them. Here they go back to their more compact, aggressive cup. Earlier we saw a more spread out, containment focused cup perhaps. Having said that, ACT moving it quickly now. They've broken through the cup, but that one will sit up. Osmond's behind it.
Osmond.
And plays through some heavy contact. Joyce fires the backhand down the far side. That's great use of sideways movement to set up the backhand shot into the wind, which will nearly always be a thrower's preferred throw. Much easier to get revolutions and control. Oh, and that throw is a goal! Straight over the head of the much taller Erin Crawford and into the hands of Annalise Prattley. A goal of opportunity, but sometimes that's what you need in these trying conditions, a little bit of luck to go your way. And as we said before, ACT needed to right the ship, and they have. So we see it again. Osmond's throw caught in the wind, but over the head of Crawford and into the hands of Prattley.
Both Osmond and Joyce very pivotal in that offensive point. Twice Osmond was able to break the cup across the field, with then Joyce able to throw a big gainer down the sideline, which broke through, got them playing more players in front of the cup. I think that'll be something that ACT will have to look to do and make use of a lot more.
ACT are in the envious position of having two very strong handlers. A lot of teams at this tournament are driven by one particularly strong thrower. ACT obviously in the luxurious position of both Thea Osmond and Rachel Joyce being very powerful throwers. And when they can connect, linking together a good break throw with a strong downfield shot, we just saw how devastating it can be. Osmond staying on the field now with pulling duties.
Big floaty pull, nicely placed on the sideline. And ACT come with a zone look. New South Wales quickly swing it across the field. And a lovely catch. Swings across to ETO. Fortunately, a metre too far.
New South Wales having no troubles going sideways and swinging against that zone, but not a lot of action moving it upfield.
Osmond picks up the disc. Moves it long to Gregory, who dumps it back to Osmond. Looks like a foul call. Very quick play on there, score by Morgan.
Yeah, I'm not sure if the correct use of the stoppage and check back in occurred, but the goal will stand. There is a lot of scope in Ultimate Frisbee where spirit of the game dictates allowing players to play on and essentially make things happen as they will, if everyone agrees. We see again this great bidding effort
by Mackenzie Smeaton. Excellent. Desperation for the disc. It's exactly what we want to see.
Especially in conditions like this where the disc will float and fly in unintended ways. A never die attitude when it comes to catching it is what's needed. Smeaton demonstrating it in spades. And suddenly we're at 4 apiece again. And the momentum firmly with ACT once more. We'll see whether they can turn this 2-goal run into something more substantial. Build themselves a bit of a lead, perhaps, a buffer. Because there's no doubt in any of our minds, or at least in mine, that New South Wales will score again and we'll go on a bit of a run at some point. It's about whether ACT can build themselves a buffer and then contain that damage when it inevitably comes.
On windy days like this, momentum is definitely a thing. Teams go on big runs, and you're right, it's just about minimising the damage when you're not on. ACT threw a zone on New South Wales last point. Will be interesting to see if they do the same thing.
Joyce fires immediately to the end zone. It's too far out in front of Kroll. New South Wales with the disc, gesturing. And that one may go down. And will they have a chat about any contact that followed? No, they will not. This is danger territory for New South Wales. New South Wales really just on the, ACT on the doorstep. Disc in the hands of Joyce, that's who they want it with, but it will pop over the intended receiver. This has happened so many times before. Stifling defense, make it difficult. They do find Strong. We've seen her launch her big cannon of a forehand. Instead opts for the around backhand. That's a nice throw. New South Wales playing in lots of space against the match defense. Able to move it quickly and get the goal in flow down this near side. Eventually finding Lily Hua. ACT playing match defense, but unable to really get any kind of defensive traction, as New South Wales looked like they were playing in acres of space. I'm not sure if we've seen ACT play their zone look when heading upwind. Perhaps that's something they need to take out of the New South Wales book and bring it out going both ways.
This is the New South Wales captain, Itio, with the pull. ACT offence receiving their last instructions from coach.
Itio playing a lot of points for this New South Wales team. Doing a lot of work for them, stepping up. They've clearly recognised the importance of having their strongest throwers on the field as much as possible in these trying conditions. And that is exactly what Asaka Itio brings. Plenty of throwing capabilities. Breaking the mark almost at will. And that's a nice pull in these windy conditions. May have been the best we've seen all game going that direction. And New South Wales immediately come down with this pommy zone look. One player in the mark, 3 in the cup, 2 wings and a deep. Smeaton sitting on the back, ready to collect anything that goes her way. Using a 5'11" frame to great advantage in that aerial space. Osman decides to test her, but it goes too far beyond Jones.
I do like that look of Osman though, trying to get it past the wings, make the deep from New South Wales actually put in the work.
And Osman, no fear, goes again. That time it was Gregory in pursuit. That one cut out nicely by Grace Downey, and hands on hip, not happy with herself for the following pass that was behind Osmond. But maybe she'll get a second opportunity. As New South Wales reform their zone defense. Osmond, fat side forehand, that's a lovely throw.
That is a lovely throw.
But Rebecca Hazeman can't hold on. It's a difficult shot in this wind. It's going to be difficult to get that throw to sit out in front as the wind pushes that disc into the turf. New South Wales continuing to play vertical as they find Smeaton at the back of the back of the stack. Finds Itio. Shortest and tallest players on the field connecting nicely. Smeaton again. Her background is in other sports. She's bringing that athleticism and physicality to this one as Osmond shoots deep again. Smeaton in pursuit. She has Downey underneath it. Is she in? Is she out? It's a goal. Apologies, that was Hazeman in the end who caught that goal after a great run. Clearly one of the messages from the sideline from the coaches to Osmond has been to give her full license to take shots.
Yes, Osmond's definitely adapted herself well to the windy conditions. She knows what's needed from her team. She knows what they need to do going that way.
It can be somewhat disheartening as a thrower to have to play in this style and throw a lot of turnovers, but obviously it's what's required sometimes.
Quite an interesting battle of throwers on that point, actually. You had Osmond looking to just throw big, powerful throws down the field to her receivers, and Itio was really controlling her offense, throwing break throws, getting it back, looking to move the disc smoothly and quickly.
That contrast of styles. Function as well of whether you're into the wind or against the wind for that point. Much more difficult to play that long ball game into the wind. A whole lot more power is needed. We also caught a glimpse there of the New South Wales coaches in their wonderful pineapple hats. I think so far, at least to my eyes, it's the best headgear I've seen this tournament.
We can't see it on the video here, but also wearing matching pineapple socks, both coaches.
Very nice.
Showed me earlier in the day.
Very nice. Let's see whether any of the other teams on or off-field members can outdo the New South Wales coaches. Madison O'Connor and Sarah Perkins, while neither of them have played in this age bracket at this competition, they've both coached a number of times, and they're both in their third year leading the New South Wales women. So they're no strangers to the format or to the tournament.
New South Wales with a disc on the sideline. ACT staying in their match defence. Continuing to work it up the sideline. Kayla Chan there caught. Tries to put it down the line but can't find a receiver. We'll see if Osman wants to play the same style going upwind. Quick break throw. ACT both stuck. Lovely pass by Joyce, but put down. And again, defense by Prattley. Swings to Osman, who puts a big throw up to Nethery. Again, puts a big blade into the end zone. Unfortunately, can't be caught.
Well, that last forehand maybe wasn't quite as pretty as she would have liked. Osmond showing her throwing prowess, carving up the wind, up the field.
That last quarter of the field is actually not as protected as the other areas, so the wind does pick up quite a lot. Strahan with a disc in front of the end zone. A quick turn, Joyce with a disc. Swings to Osman. Passes through the hands of a few to Nethery. Osman to Joyce, I believe. Very nicely played. Joyce actually held herself back there for a second or two, waiting for that space to clear up, and then made a quick strike cut for the goal.
New South Wales opted for quite a deep stack when they got possession that point that made it difficult for them to connect from their handler core with their cutters downfield. Especially in these conditions, it's important to stay nice and short, make the passes nice and easy. And we see again Osman's forehand to Joyce, who does a good job holding on and staying in the field. Keeping it level.
Another timeout called.
Both teams recognising that at this point in the game, this close to half, and 53 minutes in, the next roll of momentum may be a crucial defining factor in the outcome of this match. So the story of this game has really been one of momentum shifts. ACT jumped out early to a 2-0 lead. New South Wales maybe a little slow out of the gates, not quite fully awakened with it. And then New South Wales went on a 4-point run to take it to 4-2. And then ACT responded to take it to 4s. And since then we've gone back and forth. Both teams seem to have got a bit of the measure of their opposition, figured out what works and what doesn't. In ACT's case, it's been taking those long shots. Osmond and Joyce both showing their class with their big throws upwind and down. And New South Wales opting for maybe a little bit more of that small ball style, led by their captain Osaka Toyo, moving the disc quickly and following it with their legs, generating quick movement, keeping the throws short and in control. We'll see which style ends up being victorious at the end of this one.
be interesting to see if New South Wales come up with a plan to maybe limit Osman's influence on this game. I feel like in the last few points in particular, she really stepped up, started taking control, both offensively and defensively, with a couple of blocks as well.
Do you think some kind of assassination or something else?
Maybe, or just recognising that she's making lots of big plays and knowing to put your best defender on her as much as you can. The zone look obviously would make it harder for her to throw what she wants to throw. So maybe going back to that zone look, New South Wales were caught a few times having to play match after quick turnovers. Maybe just deciding to set that zone no matter what. If there's a turnover, scramble into place and get that zone on. I think that's when they've looked the most dangerous defensively.
The best zones as well are able to, or the best players in the zone, I should say, are able to recognise where they want the disc to go and make it attractive to the opposition to throw it there. And it may be a case of recognising where Osman and Joyce are on the field and forcing the disc away from them, making it attractive to pass the disc to really anyone else. And in doing so, hope that the statistics pay off for you.
We have the New South Wales boys team having some sort of ritual with their coach across the field.
Nicholas Lely leading a cheer of some kind, clearly getting behind their women's team, which is great to see. Women's ultimate, something that maybe hasn't been quite as in the forefront of people's minds in past, hasn't received possibly the attention and the focus that it's deserved, and that maybe the men's game has. But you can see why it is such a great game to watch. As we've got the ACT, the best of the ACT against the best of New South Wales, duking it out in this match, the opening women's match of the Australian Youth Ultimate Championships. Whole lot of talent and athleticism on display from both teams. And Joyce getting ready to pull this one, giving herself plenty of space. She's a big thrower, we'll see what she can do. And disc in the hands of Strawn. She's been one of the big throwers for New South Wales, but that throw doesn't come out quite how she wants it. And it rolls out the far sideline. New South Wales opting to play match in this turnover situation. And ACT finds Joyce. Nice little shimmy up line, gives herself plenty of space. Doesn't have an immediate next option. Something I think both teams will look to work on is generating a better continuation option, being able to keep the disc flowing once they've got an initial pass off. Often we're seeing them have to hold on to the disc for a number of seconds and reset. New South Wales now. Itoyo shooting for any number of players. Smeaton may have been her intended target.
We saw our first stall out of the game just before. For those who are new to the sport, you have 10 seconds to throw the disc, called by the defensive player, and ACT were unable to throw within 10 seconds.
Joyce finds her player, Bauer, underneath. But Bauer can't complete to Jones. Pops up. Joyce underneath it, whacks it away. Reads it well. It's picked back up by French. Catherine French looks for the upline pass to Joyce. Can't complete. Wind wreaking havoc on many throws this game. So we see Smeaton go to turf again. While it's not quite the same severity, the wind here somewhat reminiscent of Division 2 Nationals this year, where we saw absolute gale force winds wreak havoc on the game. Strawn with the disc, fires that forehand. A forehand which has been so powerful, so devastating downwind. Struggling a little more going back the other way. Hazeman runs deep, but the throw doesn't come. Instead, it looks for Bauer underneath. Matoya looks to strike quickly, respond. Lovely backhand up the line. Strawn holds on nicely, sticks out the right hand, plucks it out of the air.
Two lovely plays for that goal. A lovely throw by Itio. And not to undersell Strawn, though, that's a very hard catch to make. Disc moving away from you, outstretched fully. Very easy to come straight off the hand on that one. So a great, great grab.
You see it again. Really is trailing edge at full stretch. It's difficult to do. We've seen the difficulty players have had catching all day long, even when they've had two hands on the disc. Strawn makes it look easy, takes it in her stride, does a great job. And that's sixes. It's neck and neck.
And another upwind goal, showing it might be just as easy to score that way as it is the other way.
You're absolutely right. Despite all the talk of upwind, downwind, both teams have scored plenty going both directions. Big pull from Strawn, showing her power.
Osman and Joyce left alone. Interesting defensive tactics. We've got our full matchup on now. Eaton with the disc, sends it to Nethery. Goes down the line.
Great hands.
Morgan, who makes a great catch. Trapped on the line, high stall count, had to throw it. New South Wales with the disc now. Swings across to Chan. To Nguyen. To Strawn. New South Wales very deep again. Strawn with the disc. Overthrows her receiver. Osman with the disc for ACT. Big throw to Hazeman. He dumps it straight back to Osman. Across to Joyce. Quick movement to Osmond. Can't connect on the break throw.
that inside forehand, a very tricky shot into the wind.
Strawn with a lovely break backhand huck. Just bounces off her receiver's hands. Osman now tries the inside flick again. And a nice D by Hua. Can't be reeled in by Dower, who made a good read actually. Floated away from her. Osman and Joyce back for the ACT girls. There's D by Strawn, quickly picks it up. Puts the flick into the end zone. Drop by Dower.
Quickly becoming a bit of a marathon point, this one. Reminiscent of the opening point of the match.
Osman comes in. Straight away looks for that big throw, but the wind catches it. A bit different throwing into the wind. Strawn with a disc on the sideline. Can't get it to sit nicely. This time Joyce will go and get the disc for ACT instead of Osmond. Different thrower maybe for a different look.
Turnover inside their own end zone.
Strawn rushes to pick the disc up. Throws the hammer.
Over the top.
Ooh. I think that's where I'd like to see New South Wales really slow down. Get everyone into that end zone. Form a nice stack and let Strawn have one easy look.
It's good to be aggressive when you've got plenty of territory to cover, but once you are on the doorstep, as you say, possibly better to revert to that more conservative, clinical style of offense.
Osmond again with the disc. Back to Osmond.
Finds Nethery. Nethery's been doing a lot of work for ACT as a cutter. Safe pair of hands.
Nguyen tries to shoot the small gap. Just bubbles out of the receiver's hands. Thanks for the disc. Deed by Kayla Chan. And again, just that rushed offense right up front of the end zone.
It can be tricky to flick that switch when you're go, 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 aggressive, 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 and then have to completely switch your style just outside the end zone, but it's what needs to be done to reliably put those discs into the end zone for goals.
Critchley there Attempted the break backhand. Nethery again. She's providing a nice and stable target for him downfield. Dumps it to Osman. Hits a nice break to Joyce. To Nethery again. Dumps to Joyce. Hits Hazeman. Back to Joyce.
Now they're moving well. ACT in flow.
Oh. Sometimes the Frisbee gods are with you, and it was for Eaton then. Osman has the disc now. Oh, lovely D by Critchley. Outstretched, long arms, knocked it away. Now it's New South Wales' turn to move the disc all the way up the field.
We see Nethery continue to step up for ACT as their primary cutting threat, constantly giving the likes of Joyce and Osmond opportunities to move the disc upfield.
Just a little bit too tall for Eaton there. Strahan once again picks up the disc for New South Wales. Swing to Chan. Ooh, an unfortunate drop by Loveday. Strahan signals she wants her to go long. Puts it up to her. Ooh. Good box by Loveday, but couldn't reel it in. Excellent pair of hands by Joyce.
Oh, that's a great throw.
Lovely by Eaton. Back to Nethery.
I just want to talk about that forehand from Joyce. Every player's been struggling to throw forehands upwind, and then she launches a flat as a pancake throw, and now she'll be rewarded with the assist.
Joyce really stepping up in that last couple of throws, and the marathon point ends with another upwind score.
Joyce reading what Strahan wanted to do there, jumped across and got a big block on Strahan's backhand huck attempt. We may see it again here. Sticks out the right hand, shakes it in pain. I mean, to throw that hard's going to hurt, but she'll take it. And then finds Grace Downey for the goal.
She'll be feeling that in her hand for the next few points max, but well worth it every time you get a hand block.
Absolutely, and at 7-6, it's put them in the driver's seat going into half-time. Despite it almost being half-time, we've only got just over 6 minutes to play. You feel if ACT can get this next one going downwind, they'll be in a great spot. Looks like Osmond will stay out there for ACT. I'm not sure whether Joyce will as well. I think the leadership of that team has opted to have both of those strong handlers on for the upwind points, and then they share the duties when going back the other way. Smart decision. The other end of the field, it's the The usual suspects of New South Wales. Smeaton, the big receiver. And Toyo and Vu will do the work behind the disc along with Nguyen. Osmond with the pulling duties, raises the disc above her head. The way and the length of the last point, if that's anything to go by, this could be the last point before time cap. Osmond match up on Toyo, choosing to sag off. And that disc bobbles out through the hands of Nguyen, right in front of the camera. Osmond picks up, backhand, and we'll have a foul call immediately on that throw. These two Australian under-20 women's teammates will battle it out. And they'll now chat it out as well. Ultimate Frisbee being a self-refereed game means that foul calls are resolved through discussion between the players, sharing their perspectives of what happened, coming to a conclusion. But at that time, it was clear what happened. It was dropped, unfortunately, by Catherine French in New South Wales. Move it up line to Lee. Lee pivoting hard to move her mark. Dumps to Toyo. Toyo always providing that easy option reset when she has to, but that forehand will float. There'll be a pack underneath. It's drawn. No. It's Annalise Prattley that comes down with it in the end. And that one bounces out of the hands of French again. Having a point to forget for her, unfortunately. Can New South Wales capitalise? No, they cannot. Too far out in front of Bronte Clifford, despite her pace, to reel in.
Interesting to see how Osmond plays his point. She's shown herself to want to put it long and hard when she gets it going this way.
Provides the dump, surveys her options, fakes off a few, doesn't like what she's getting, has to go forehand to Neve, but can't hold on to that one. And now we've got a short field for Lee. Toyo's in the dump space. Osmond sitting back in the lane. Not sure if that's a tactical choice I'd go with, sagging off New South Wales central handler, but Smeaton now with a disc. Short flip into the end zone to Vu. And that's an upwind score and 7 apiece. And 2 minutes left on the clock. It is an interesting option, sagging off a Toyo there, as Osmond was, looking to get in the lane, provide a little bit more pressure on the thrower, but then providing the easy reset back to a Toyo.
Not a choice I'd make. I'd play playing tight on a Toyo and then having her make the easy throw to a dump player. I'd want the disc out of her hand as much as I possibly could, I think. Showing a remarkable ability to consistently break the mark. Just so dangerous as a player.
And perhaps even more so in this kind of wind where the backhand is so favourable over the forehand. If you can set that up for someone else with a nice break, it's doubly effective.
So this will no doubt be the last point before time cap.
Which means at 80 minutes, when the horn goes, we will finish the point that is being played. As you say, almost certainly this one, Johnny. But they will then add one to the highest score, and that will be our new points cap, and they will play to that. So almost certainly a game to 9.
Interesting to see, since 4-all we have been trading, and the last 4 points in a row have all gone upwind. It's a lovely pull by Strawn. Osman catches the disc. We heard the time cap. Joyce throws a high release, just too far for Nethery. Strawn walks to the disc. Looks. I think that was meant for Lee, but just caught the wind and too far.
Looks like Strawn's taken a leaf straight out of Osman's playbook in the aggressive option taking downwind, showing no hesitation to stick it.
Osman brings up the disc. Can't connect on the throw. Wah with a disc. Puts it up. Ooh, just drops out of the fingers of Lee.
Oh, and it's a Callahan!
Oh!
Eva Strawn with the layout. Callahan on the wayward dump pass from Thea Osman. Osman clutches her face in disbelief, and the New South Wales women are ecstatic.
That is a great piece of defence, both before the throw and afterwards. She really forced Joyce, I believe it was, to go behind. She wouldn't let her get it down the line. And Osman, a little bit of a miscommunication, and we're about to see a big layout by Strawn.
Osmond possibly fatally turns the blind side around to throw the backhand, and Eva Strawn, unadulterated joy on catching that one. It's not something you see every day, a layout Callahan, but we saw one right then. It's a great play. And talk about a momentum shifter at a time when momentum may be crucial. New South Wales now up 8-7. It's half time, so they get a moment to recalibrate and breathe. But the ball is in their court clearly. ACT need to respond.
Strawn is one of the big players for New South Wales, and she came up with a big play when it mattered the most.
What do you say to your team now if you're a coach, as the ACT coach? What do you say to them to motivate them in this halftime leading into the final, potentially the final point of their match?
You've just got to trust that they'll continue to play the way you wanted them to play. You want to let them know that they've just got to play this 1 point before they worry about anything else. The habit here is to start thinking about, we've got to score this and then get another turn. That's when you get into trouble. You've just got to put this offense in. You can worry about the next point after that. It's cliched, but you just got to go 1 point at a time at this time.
Is that what you wanted? Oh, we're just playing an ad for Halloween.
What a time to get a calendar.
Oh no, right? 7-all, what a way to take half.
Is it actually half 7?
No.
Sorry, 8-7.
8-7.
Sorry.
Yeah, Callahan.
Callahan to take half.
After time cap, Rex. It's your dream.
Yeah, dream. I'm glad I saw the fields, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, right? Good decision. Reckon you sensed it. An hour and a half ago, you're like, I know what's going to happen in 90 minutes. After time, someone's going to allow.
Yes, how girls go, Rex. How'd the SA girls go?
They're going okay. Like they're still playing, and
Oh, good. Yeah. How are the? Have you been able to watch it yet?
Where's that play?
Welcome back to the Australian Youth Ultimate Championships. We're in the dying stages of our first match between the ACT and New South Wales women, and it is game on. We just saw an incredible moment of athleticism and skill by Eva Strawn with a huge layout Callahan to take half, 8-7 for New South Wales. Time cap has gone, it is a game to 9. And ACT will now be on defense. So New South Wales on offense with it all to play for. And it looks like they're leaving nothing in the bank in terms of personnel. They've got Strawn and Atoyo, Smeaton, Lee, all out on the field. They're big time players as they look for some big time plays. And likewise in white, ACT, Joyce and Osmond, the younger Grace Downey, all taking the field as well.
And a double blow for ACT with the half time coming at that point. They don't get the chance to start on offense for this point either.
They need 2 consecutive breaks. Not easy at the best of times. But we've seen them do it a couple of times this match. They've gone on runs. They've been momentum swings and shifts. By no means impossible. Simply difficult. Just as we speak, the sun fully emerges from the clouds and the wind seems to die for a moment. We'll see whether Joyce can take advantage of that with her pull. Looks nice. Toyo and Strawn piloting this offense. The big throwing Strawn has been devastating for New South Wales. She moves it to the near side to Chan. Back to Strawn. ACT opting to play zone. And that one will be blocked. Yes, it will. Twice. And Joyce makes sure of it. Knocks it into the turf. And Osmond will pick it up again. She's been pivotal for them all game. Both up and downwind. Her preference downwind has been to shoot it long early. Instead now, maybe sensing the gravity of the moment, finds Joyce up line. And Joyce goes up line. Looks up line, apologies, can't find it. Goes to Downey, who'll dump back and it'll pop over in the wind. As they move it upfield, and another simple drop gives ACT a second chance. High release backhand to Bauer. It's a difficult throw and completes it. Finds Osmond. Backhand near side. Out of the hands of Hazeman, who can't hold on. Toyo marked by Downey this point. Slight adjustment by ACT. Strawn sticks out the left hand, holds on well. Just made some nice one-handed grabs. But her forehand affected by the wind there. ACT move it quickly. Find Joyce in space to Bauer. Bauer back to Joyce. Fires forehand across the field to the fat side, looking for Downey. But Smeaton, 5'11" frame, too big. And the zone forcing New South Wales to play into small channels. And they now have the disc on halfway, does ACT. Hazeman makes a move, as does Osmond. Result is 2 players in the same spot, in the same space, and that's never a good option. Cup forms. Strawn, not a lot of options, has to go high release forehand. Osmond picks up. Bauer comes underneath, as she so reliably does. Joyce tries to provide an option in front. Hazeman comes break side. Osmond, nice break of the mark. But the around forehand cannot be held onto. And the zone will be reformed. Strawn now has her backhand, and that's dangerous, and she launches it, but Osmond reads it and cuts it out nicely. I think I'd like to see ACT stick to the forehand force against Strawn, especially upwind. French redeeming herself for earlier mistakes, finds Osmond. Joyce goes up line, but the backhand from Osmond pushed down by the wind.
ACT seem to be missing the grunt work of Nethery in this point. That link-up player.
She's been devastating for them, just doing a mountain of work, but this is the opportunity they were looking for. The disc on the end zone line, inches from making this 8-all, and Joyce picks it up, shoots to what looked like a pretty well covered bow. That's possibly a decision-making error by Rachel Joyce. The cup will reform around a TO. And Smeaton in the midfield to Lee. Has to bobble it to hold on. Finds it back to Atoyo. Finds Strawn in the centre. Goes with the hammer into space. Lee's underneath it. Apologies, that's not Lee. Hua!
And there's the score to Lee.
To Lee for the goal and for the game. New South Wales are victorious. And Eva Strawn with the heroics. First to Callaghan and then a huge upwind crossfield hammer to set up Hua to Lee for the easy goal. So we see it again. Strawn has stepped up when her team needed her most. She's been fearless with the long shot all game. She's thrown a couple of hammers that maybe didn't come out as well as that one did. But that was a dime. And there's nothing that the ACT could do but watch. And in the end, New South Wales are victorious.
Well played.
9-7.
Well played by Lily Hua as well. Had the big defender bearing down on her and just stuck the mitts out and caught it. Then a quick pass to Lee for the score. It's what you want. Strawn wants that in a receiver if she's going to pick her as a hammer.
It's a high pressure situation to be in, and she does really well. And so that's all she wrote on this game. Don't go anywhere though, there's plenty more high octane ultimate action being brought to you all weekend long from the Australian Youth Ultimate Championships here in Adelaide. I've been Max Stenstrom, thanks for joining me. I've been joined by Jonathan Warren-White.
It's been an absolute pleasure. What a game.
Indeed. See you next time.
I fell into a ring of fire, 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 fire.
Alti.tv